Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Meter Burn. This will be the fifth episode in our whole entire series, so thank you for being with us. Before I get ahead of myself, as always, let's introduce my co-host here, Miss Katie Cujo.
Hey everybody, hey Bobby, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much. And our special guest here today will be the Canadian World Warrior, hailing from Toronto, Mr. Brett, aka Psychocronic. What's going on?
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for being on the show. Now, I
Yeah, sure.
believe that you have a lot of things to talk about here.
No, I don't. You're asking me questions.
Well, of course, we're going to be asking you questions,
Yeah.
but we're going to be talking about a lot of things here.
Okay, go ahead.
So, let's get on right to it. Now,
Hmm.
many people know you, as yourself. You are an ST main. What games do you usually play?
I play ST. I've played TBC and played Marvel, but I was the type of person to play any game possible. Just roughly any fighter, roughly any fighter.
Yeah, Cross
2D
Tekken,
wise,
Dive Kick,
2D wise, yeah, dive kick,
Marvel.
Marvel, Cross Tekken,
Then
Street
you
Fighter.
were in Evo with Ski. You and Ski Sonic placed for Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Yes.
Why
Yeah.
don't you, tell us about that experience? I mean,
It was
that's awesome.
Actually, I entered that tournament as a seeded player because I placed second at Midwest Championships when I lost to Marn. So I literally had the easiest pool possible. Like wow, and I used a softband character, and it was amazing. You know,
Who was your main in that game?
my main team was Duranjo and Soki, but in that entire tournament I used PTX, and he
Oh,
is
of course.
softband. Giants are softband, obviously. So I want to win it. I want to win as possible. There's no rule where Giants were banned, so I'm
Right.
gonna take it.
No, exactly. So how long has it been since you first traveled out to your tournament? Like a first tournament ever?
My first tournament ever was in 2005 in January. It was just a regular monthly at York University, and how I got into the scene was a cry of desperation because I just posted in some random DOA2U online thread, and then
Okay.
I just get a private message saying, "Ooh, Mississauga player that's not part of the scene. Like, yo, you should join the scene. You know, the scene sucks, and the scene needed new players, and no one's stepping it up." And I figured, like, I'll give this a shot. So I went to my first tournament in January 2005, and it was like 10 inches of snow. I wouldn't say 10 inches. Well, let's say close to 10 inches of snow. And I went there. It's like, okay, I'm very amazed of what I saw. And, just kept on going on. Just here I am still.
So where was this tournament?
It was in York University. It's in Northwest Toronto.
Okay.
So how is the whole scene in general for Canada? I mean,
Oh,
the whole
Canada's a very
Toronto area. What do you think?
That's a
Canada's
very wide.
well, the Toronto area, it's like back then, we played at a place called Orbit. And the fun part is that anyone that came to this arcade, everyone was at a disadvantage because you were used to American sticks. This arcade had Japanese sticks. So there you go. You played on what was given to you. You can't use your American stick. You can't use your pad. And back then, Toronto was known for Third Strike. Like it had all the killers for Third Strike. Like that. Like yeah, I'd say Third Strike, and then a couple decent names for CVS2, a couple decent names for Marvel 2, and a very stable Guilty Gear scene. So yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played the new Guilty Gear yet?
Exerd? No, you can't. You can't play
It's
Exerd.
that's
Can't.
yeah, complete lockdown in Japan.
Yeah.
Ah,
Sorry, no Exerd here.
I didn't know if there was any illegal
Nah.
copies or anything floating.
No,
No.
not that's not going to be for a long while. So
Not a chance. Not for another like 15 years. So good luck.
okay, so you talked about your first tournament experience. What about your first let's say major?
My first major was 6 months later at It was called T6, the Six Canadian Fighting Game Championships, and it was a very notable weekend because this is Empire Arcade's first appearance in Canada.
Okay.
So we had Justin Wong, Ricky Ortiz, Arturo Sanchez, Executioner, Sanford Kelly, Duran, Triforce, Blue JQ, just a bunch of just American killers that are coming to this tournament. And like, wow, it's like a lot of people, obviously American sticks. Well, guess what? You're in a disadvantage now unless you're Justin or Ricky. So, yeah, it was just an amazing experience. Like that was my first major, and I got top 8 in AE, aka ST Edition Select Anniversary Edition. So,
Ah.
Cool.
you lose to Champion Edition Guile, Champion Edition Bison. So it's like, okay, all right, that's fine.
All right. And what about your first tournament outside, let's say to the U.S. ever?
My first tournament outside of the U.S. Wow, Evolution 2009.
Okay.
That like the 1,000, the first ever time Evolution had 1,000 players for a game, and like Evolution 2009, it's like, wow, you've been in the scene at that time 4 years. You never left your home. You never traveled. This is your chance to like, because Street Fighter 4 came in, so a new wave comes in.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? A new wave of players. So it's like I need that experience. Like, this is where everything transitions from like PS2 all the way to like Xbox 360, PS3, that era. So you're going to the HD era if you think about it. So yeah,
It's true.
that was my first American major, was Evolution 2009. Yeah.
And I
Well, that's
honestly
a great
couldn't.
one to go to.
Yeah, honestly,
Man.
couldn't think of a better time to start, especially with Street Fighter 4, the vanilla
Yeah.
version anyway. Just being really fresh,
Yeah.
bringing in all this new blood. Of course, you're going to get a lot of signups for the grandest stage of them all when it comes to
Oh, yeah.
fighting games.
Oh yeah, I actually had the chance to play on stream. Actually, wow.
Oh.
I was the only Rose that played on the stream. That was the thing.
This is before TSA been picked up Rose and
Yeah, before, yeah, but later.
okay. All right.
That's one thing I have to say. Brett and I will practice together off and on, like, on Xbox Live. And, you always pick, you mostly pick Rose.
I only choose that character, despite the
Yeah.
fact I'm playing the game.
And the
But yeah,
thing is that he plays so many games that he doesn't just devote himself, like, strictly to just AE. You
Oh,
try you always try to spread yourself out to as many games as you possibly can.
oh, absolutely. Because the thing with playing multiple games, all your basics and fundamentals all carry over. So it's like, and what makes also a good player is balancing out multiple games. Like I was not the type of person to lock myself to one. I need to play at least 2 or 3 every time I enter a major. So yeah.
So what's the game that you felt most comfortable with? Let's say even now.
ST, because like my scene, kind of like observing like my own home community, it's like everyone was new school minded. Regardless of which era that you're in, everyone is new school minded. So everyone started off in either CBS 2, Marvel 2, Third Strike.
Right.
No one ever had the time to learn ST. And like that was the side game that nobody wanted to play here, and I felt like this game is like very unforgiving, because you make one mistake, you're dead. If you get swept, you deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So ST, like that will be my main game, because like that's the game that what made me before Street Fighter 4 or TVC or whatever. So pay your respect to the game that this is what made you
Started
don't
you
give up.
out.
This
Yeah.
is what made you don't give it up. Yeah.
Speaking of not giving up, you've been traveling to the U.S. and all over, let's say, North America through Megabus or any other
yes.
sort of bus. So what made you basically dedicate yourself to saying, you know what, I'm going to plan out all of these little tournaments and I'm going to go to each and every one of them. So how do you go about that, or how did you?
So when I started this off in 2011, so right after Evo 2010, so I figure it's like I've done everything that the scene had to offer. I feel like I have nothing to prove or achieve. So it's like, what's the next logical step in order to make a name for yourself? You have to go to America, and this is like, America's where everything's at. We don't have like Team Spooky where we have like 10,000 people every week for our local, or Wednesday night fights where they have like 50 to 70 people per week at Super Arcade. It's like, why not see like there's more to the scene than just your home. And I figure like I'll do this, but I'll have to sacrifice some parts of my home community's activity. That exact same money I spend at home, I can just go to a major with that exact same money.
Right.
And I figure like I want to go to as many as possible. And granted, like in order for me to plan all this out, you have to budget. Everyone has to budget their way in. So
Yeah.
I figure like this is how I'm able to go to majors for cheap. And I always book my tickets months ahead of time, because tournament directors always help me out. So, like, give me the date before you publicly release it. And I figure, like, the risks are worth the rewards. Like, you're gonna walk away with a good experience. You're gonna meet everybody. People want to meet you, and you know all that. But how I was able to meet both of you traveling.
Yeah. Yeah, you are the true like road warrior, definitely, Brett.
Thank you.
You'll be like, man, oh, I'm going to final round. I'll be like, Brett, how many hours is that going to take? Isn't it 30, 30 hours from Toronto to Atlanta?
Oh yeah, but the thing is, this is why I like Toronto, because Toronto, in terms of Canada, is the main hub to America.
Mhm.
You can get to you can get to Keats's Major in one bus, Big E Major in one bus, Final Round in two buses, Canada Cup in one bus, even though that's not America, and like East Coast Throwdown in one bus. Like I figure, why not? If you were to drive, it'll cost you gas and tolls. Like with a bus, like you're just comfortable. You just sit in the back of the bus, just recline the seat and go to sleep. That's it. So easy.
Now, with
Okay.
your steady interest in these not North American, but USA fighting game tournaments, especially those in like I'm sorry, the East Coast, since they're so
Yeah.
easily accessible. What about
Yeah.
your own community?
My own community, it's a pretty small community. Like, oh, please elaborate. Please, it's a pretty small community.
Uh,
Everyone knows everyone. Elaborate. Elaborate.
well, how small is it? Why don't you guys get like any sort of like weekly, Rambatzer sessions going? Why
It's
don't you think that, your scene couldn't be as popular or thriving as some of the U.S.'s scenes?
Well, everyone has lives. Put it like that. Like everyone either has a career or family or girlfriend or other interests. So it's like, but the thing about my scene, this region is 150 kilometers from A to B. Everyone is scattered apart. So it's like you have weeklies. Like, well, you just have sometimes back in the day free weeklies, and we have monthlies too. We have our monthlies, and we have the fortunate access of two majors in one year. So I figure, like, it's just everyone's spread out apart. That's
Right.
the thing.
Yeah, Canada's not
Yeah.
not your typical U.S. state where
No, it's
everything's
not.
kind of like close knit and
It's
together.
difficult.
Everyone here is close knit. Everyone has known each other for well, then again, I've known people in the scene for at least 9 years. So like, you kind of know everyone, and you kind of know what goes on in the community, even if you don't partake. So, and then the fact you have to travel on a train like an hour or two, and subway, buses, all that stuff. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, we're just a pretty small community, and everyone in the Toronto area, it's just a small knit community. Just,
Now, why don't you think more people from Toronto or any part of Canada be like you and just kind of plan dates ahead
I'm
for attending
afraid
these
that's
U.S.
not going to
majors?
be. I'm afraid that's not possible in some cases because people don't have passports, and
Ah.
no, and it's the same goes both ways. You may have the money, you may have the time off, but if you don't have the passport, you can't leave the country.
Yeah.
And let's say if you did, there's a scare factor. Can you survive 12 hours on a bus one way? People will go insane.
That is intense, Brett.
People will go insane. Like, it's the same thing as a car, except with a car it's more money. With a bus, it's just more convenient. You just sit down and just recline your seat. Like, even driving, it's the same concept, except you're just in a little car with your friends.
Well, you should be. You
Then
could
you have
be.
to factor in money. You have to factor in money, like, and taking time off and planning all this stuff. It's not easy.
Of course, it isn't easy, but it's definitely doable. You
Oh, it's
actually
doable.
could be, viewed as a living testament to that.
Mhm.
Having traveled all this time.
Yeah. I just studied everything in advance. Like, and that's what a lot of people just didn't do. Either people don't research the trip or people are just not interested. And I can't like be angry about it. People don't want to travel. That's fine.
Right.
You know, I always say that traveling is a big importance as a player because it's like, as I said before, if you want to make a name for yourself, you need to leave your home and go to America. You have no choice. Yeah.
That's a pretty bold statement, but I
Yeah.
It's
can't
bold,
see that
yes.
being disproved as of yet.
I'm saying this in a Canadian perspective because it's like all the exposure is in America.
Right.
Like our stream numbers, what do we get for a local? Like 20, 50 for a local? and for a major, what 10,000, 5,000 to 10,000 for our home major. That's pretty decent. And that's fine. Like, it's not like all the Americans can come to you. You got to go to them. That's the thing. You need to go to them and just play your heart out. That's all. And just chill out when it's after hours.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's
Well,
talk.
how about your majors? I mean, you have Toryukin and Canada Cup.
Oh, Canada Cup is not in Toronto, and with Canada Cup, that's the other side of the country, and it's more expensive to fly to Western Canada than it is to Evo. That's the thing about Canada Cup.
That's pretty
With
insane.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. With
I didn't know
Toryukin, it's just our home major. It was Toryukin was meant to be the Evo qualifiers, as in for the Evo points. Then again, now we don't have. Then again, we have Capcom Pro Tour points. Well, we don't have Toryukin for Capcom Pro Tour, which is fine. So it's like, we always have that, have that first major of the year, and it unites all the Toronto scenes and attracts some Americans, and Montreal comes in force. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. Toryukin will be next weekend, actually.
Yeah, it
Nice.
definitely is a blessing to have a big event such as Toryukin in your backyard, especially for a
Oh, of
close knit
course.
community like Toronto.
Of course, like I try to support the scene when I can. Like I may not go to locals or gatherings, but if there's a major, well, I'm showing up. I'm showing up. Like that's a guarantee right there. You got to show up to your home major, even if you're gonna spectate. That's fine. I'll be happy.
Yeah, so how did Toryukin, or when did Toryukin start? This is the third.
This is the third one. It started 2 years ago as in my opinion, it did start 2 years ago as a response of all the Road to Evo 2012, and they wanted to give out international spots, and Toryukin was one of them.
Right.
Hmm. And the name for Toryukin, it's just Shoryukin. Like it's a catchy name and it attracts you. It's like, why not take it? And then when we had the first Toryukin, it was amazing. It was very amazing. I really liked it.
Yeah. How were the numbers for the first ever Toryukin?
Okay, the first numbers was like I think 110 for both the main games. So it was AE Marvel. For the other games, I don't know exactly, but there were Street Fighter Cross. Okay, all Evo main games, which all have seeds. They had Skullgirls, the Skullgirl circuit, where if you won, you won a stick, along with prize money. 2 streams, and when they did the first tour, it was in a very big hotel ballroom where normally that hotel houses people for the Toronto International Film Festival. So it's
really?
a very big, it's very big and it's very expensive. Like the room is like $239 a night.
Ooh.
And like the thing is with Toronto majors, no one ever books a hotel room. Everyone just either goes to someone else's house or they just go home.
Well, again, it is a blessing to have
it's a
such a
blessing.
big event in
Yes, it is.
in your backyard.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of Toryukin, again, Toryukin 3 is coming up. It's next weekend, right? So May 16th. Is it a 3-day or a 2-day?
2.5, 16 to 18. 2.5, 16 is it will not be held in the Holiday Inn. It will be held at ENC World, and the 16th will be a 2v2 Marvel 2v2 AE. That's it.
Okay, so that's just like a sort of teams day, is it?
It's a teams day only, and then the top two they play on Sunday. That's it.
Okay.
So it's a 2.5
Nice.
day major. 2.5 days.
All right. And actually, I do have the Toryukin 3, the newest trailer that just released today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and show that right quick.
Okay.
And there you guys have it. Definitely shaping up to be a really great event, especially with all the pop bonuses by your respective sponsors. Actually, um, congratulations to the On Blast show for, or not even congratulations, but shout outs to the On Blast show for doing their thing, supporting their Injustice game, and again various other sponsors for their various respective games. And again, yeah, this is shaping up to be quite an event, especially with the featured players there. Justin Wong, K. Brad, just to name a few. So you're definitely gonna have some killers from the U.S.
Yeah.
out here to take your turf.
I'm so excited because for the first time in Toronto history, we're putting up a plane ticket to Evolution.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great prize.
And this is for Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, because if you win ST, you get a Tournament of Legends 2 spot in that little prestigious bracket. That to me is like, wow, I want to win that.
Yeah, the Tournament of Legends is actually really shaping up to be a hype event.
Yes, it is.
People, let's see, Afro Cole already qualified, Damn Die already qualified, if I recall correctly.
Afro Legends, Damn Die, Ganelon, Immortal, Balcork, Justin Wong, fourth, and they released the new Japanese invite, Nakamura Kami.
Okay.
Yeah, Nakamura is like the best Kami in the world, and despite Kami is the worst character in the game. Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, so what about you? Are you gonna take this tournament then?
Yeah, of course. Like I have a good chance because like I hang out with all the Super Turbo players because we all get along in gatherings, and it's just 5 of us. But the thing is, it's like I'm the only person that travels, so I have all that experience. So it's like I'm coming in with like this is Toryukin will be my 5th qualifier, and like I said that if I'm gonna qualify, it has to be through Toryukin because I want that plane ticket. So yeah.
Speaking of the past qualifiers that you've been to, you just recently came from my home state, Ohio, down to Cincinnati. Arcade Legacy had a Tournament of Legends qualifier.
Yes, they did.
So how'd you fare in that?
Well, I got top 8, but I lost all of my matches. I lost 3-2. Like when I lost, it was all 3-2 final game, final round, all wake up supers, and the Midwest has a lot of hidden killers. Like even though the Midwest is so spread apart, there are hidden killers, and they do support the game.
Right.
And I lost to the Fragile. I think he's from Pittsburgh. He uses Boxer, and I know he wanted his revenge on me. And then I lost to, I beat some other person. I beat Mighty Mar, the best Anachrist, and uses Phalon. I beat Nomura, and I needed my revenge on Nomura for beating me at Seasons Beatings Velocity. So I beat him because when he chose DJ, it's like, okay, this is over. And then I lost to Miguel S. from Chicago, but that's a Chun-Li mirror, and I do not like that mirror match. And I had an amazing time. I had an amazing time at Arcade Legacy for that qualifier. Mm-hmm.
So who do you actually main? It's sort of oh, go ahead.
No, go on. Sorry.
From a sort of a new blood person, understanding that it sometimes has to come down to complete counter picking just to have an edge on your opponent. But who do you actually main? Like who's like the most fun that you have? I don't counter pick.
I only use one character, and that's Chun-Li.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I only use Chun-Li, but I've come to the understanding it's like because of our scene is just very small for ST, like we have no choice but to we need alternates. So I've been using DJ lately. And DJ is actually better than Chun-Li, apparently. So, yeah. So
have you used your DJ in this tournament, or have you just been sticking with Chun-Li straight through?
I'm sticking with Chun-Li straight through because I believe my DJ's just not ready. It's just experience-wise, it's just not ready. I'll use them in casuals, so that's one thing, but tournament-wise, it depends on the opponent. I have used DJ in local tournaments, too, but yeah. All right. That's good.
So let's see at this Toryukin Tournament of Legends. Do you know anybody who's coming that you might want to keep an eye out for, and when you see their name on the bracket or what?
Does Justin Wong count?
He is sort of the jack of all trades.
He already qualified, so it's like, well, if he wins, he doesn't get the spot.
Right.
So the person that got me into the scene, his name is Dogberry. He didn't get me. He was the first person of the scene to help me out when nobody else in the scene did.
Okay.
And he counterpicks. he knows he can't beat me with Guile. He has to choose Old Sagat, and I don't like fighting Old Sagat because it's a bad match for Chun-Li. Those are tiger bullets, tiger lasers, and like tiger uppercut is what 25%. Yeah, good luck. So yeah, Dogberry, Jet 07, Jimmy Bones from Montreal who uses Boxer, and that's it. Like if anyone's concerned about ST at Toryuken, I'm the person you need to be worried about because I have all that experience, and yeah, no one no one has had the opportunity to travel. So yeah,
No,
my
I,
worst,
I
my
I will
worst.
agree with you to a certain extent there, especially since you have been traveling for all this time, so you're kind of well versed on like different players' playstyles, especially with even with the same character.
Yeah, it's adaptation. It's like when I use Rose, I only use Rose in Street Fighter 4. I'm gonna stick with that character regardless of how good or bad the matchup is.
Right.
When I use Nemesis in Marvel, yeah, I main Nemesis. I use Point Nemesis. It's like you have to know every matchup from MODOK to Hawkeye to Rocket Raccoon to Zero. Like yeah, just you know everything.
It's really good.
I've noticed too. I mean, when you use the same character,
Mm-hmm.
and if by some reason you decide to switch, like you said, let's say for some reason you switch to DJ instead of
Mm-hmm.
picking Chun-Li.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, in moments of stress, I always think of my main character, like my main character's combos, my main character's like, little idiosyncrasies than the character that I'm just choosing at the moment. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So
Yes.
sometimes it is just best just to go with what you're used to, because then it just becomes automatic.
Yeah, because if I'm afraid I'll use DJ, I'm afraid I'm gonna get destroyed even worse than how it was previously. So I'll
Yeah.
just take my chances at sticking with one character. That's fine. I accept it.
So tell me a bit more about this Montreal scene. Uh,
Okay, Montreal. I like going to Montreal. What do you want to know?
as in how big the community is, what are their main games, any killers in there.
Okay. All right. Montreal scene, in my opinion, is a very, as usual, it's a small scene.
Right.
It's a very historic scene to me because the thing about Montreal is that they're, in terms of versus games, that's not their specialty. Even the hypest game, Marvel 3, is not played there. It's all Street Fighter, and in my opinion, that's the faction of East Coast Street Fighter. Like this is where all the killers are.
Okay.
Like no, like hardly anyone plays Marvel but everyone plays Street Fighter. It's like the main game there, no matter what, and it's just a combination of new blood and OGs, and they help out each other. And a lot of people you need to be worried about. Chai Rivi, you know who Chai Rivi is?
Definitely.
Okay, Snafu.
Mhm.
Snafu's Dalsum. Mooney uses Guy. Just a lot of people that still need to travel, but the main people are Chai Rivi and Snafu, in my opinion. Then again, I don't know much about Street Fighter, but still, just Montreal, they bring the hype. Montreal is a community which has harmonization and unity, and I really like that. I really
And where
like
does Taba? Where does
Mosh
he?
Taba.
Yeah,
He
where
li-
is he? Is
where
he
does
in
he live?
Montreal or
No.
Toronto or?
Oh, he lives like what 30 minutes away from me. Yeah,
Yeah.
he lives in another a greater Toronto city. He lives in Brampton. Thing is, he
Okay.
goes to school. He goes to school and like he very rarely gets out. He very rarely gets out. It's been like that for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
On like he for almost 4 years. Yeah, he just very rarely gets out because he has school and whatever, and he's a very young kid. But he's a godlike. The thing is, he's a godlike player, but he still doesn't go to locals. He still doesn't go to majors. So there you go.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Well,
he needs the
that's
stuff.
really good snippet about the Montreal crew. So let's shift.
Montreal. Shoutouts to MTLSF. Shoutouts to MTLSF.
Definitely. Let's shift things back to you a bit, because what's your training regimen like? Now, I know you mentioned earlier in the podcast, like, I can't just stick with one game. I can't stick
Oh
with
yeah.
one main. I have to play all of these others. So what's your training regimen like? Do you segment your games on different days or times
Yes,
or
I do.
hours, or how do you
Yeah,
go
I
about it?
segment I segment different games on yeah, different days actually, and it's like if there's a community that in my scene that plays that specific game, I'm gonna go to it. So with ST, well, I've been running ST casuals in my house for the past like 8 years, and everyone got UDCPS2s, an actual arcade board, so we all travel there.
Ah,
With Marvel, Toronto is known for Marvel, so you have a bunch of killers like RDK, Joker, Quandizzle, Vakir, Chokehold, Aerials, and like just bunch of Marvel fiends. So it's like you just go to like TOSFHQ, which is one spot, or ANC World, which is a spot that's open 7 days a week. So the good thing about my community is that you have a place to play every day. So that's and like with other games, the thing is I play games that nobody even plays, like Street Fighter Cross Tekken or Tatsunoko versus Capcom. In some cases, you're gonna have to resort to online. You got no choice. Like if there's no player base, you have online is there 24/7 for your convenience, and then with every game equally, you have a training mode. There you go.
Bobby, how do
true
you
enough.
do it? You play a lot of games too.
No,
What's your schedule like?
I'm not really that big into fighting games anymore. But you definitely do have to segment your days to, focus on one character, at least, or in one game, at a time. There's just so much information about a character that you can take in. So why muddle it with, any other sort of like game with different mechanics even? I personally just think you just mess up that way.
And one thing about you said about training regimens for ST, I had a very strict training regimen. Everyone plays an ST when we did it in my house.
Yep.
Everyone plays everyone first to 10, no matter what.
Wow.
And no, there will be no other televisions on. Everyone will watch this because this is your next potential opponent. And like everyone faces everyone first to 10, and I will record this and I will upload it on YouTube. And I did that for a very long amount of time. It's like, okay, this is our session from this week. What do you got to do? Like, this is what we do, you know?
How
Like,
many people do you have at your ST sessions? Say like on
like
average.
four,
Okay.
four maximum. Like ST is very small in this community, and it's just no one was ever interested to learn the game in the first place. But if there was anyone that's serious to learn, this is your chance. So it's like you just come to my house. Back in the day, where you want to play on GGPO, well, I don't play GGPO, but still, like that was the regimen back in the day. Like everyone plays everyone, whether you like it. Like Fight Club, this is your first night, you have to fight. So yeah.
I heard in Japan it's you meet up with someone, play a first to 50, and then
Yeah.
go out, have a couple of beers, come back,
Mhm.
do another first to 50.
Yeah, similar like that. Yeah, it's similarly like that. Because I got this idea from X Mania Gaiden when Daigo had an invitational. He handpicked all these people. It's like they're not playing their matches at the same time. Every single match, everyone's gonna watch it no matter what. So yeah, I kind of took a note from that, and it does work. Yeah.
When you do host these, let's say, crack sessions of your ST or whatever game you want to focus on, why not actually stream it?
But because back then streams didn't exist.
Well, of course.
I'd like to stream it. The thing is, it's like the thing is with ST here is that everyone is not only spread apart, but everyone works sometimes 7 days a week. So trying to get everyone together in one little spot is not easy. It's very difficult. That's just the thing.
Yeah, that's definitely the bummer with trying to get as much practice as you can, especially before like some sort of local or even a major.
Yeah, like
It's just-
back then, like we were lucky to do 2 sessions a month, and now because of arcade hardware and now with cars or whatever, we can have at least
Cars or whatever.
yeah,
No,
buses or subways. Like we were lucky to have 3 sessions a month. So yeah. Very small scene that we have for SC. It's just the same five people, and I've always said you gotta travel, man. We can't just play each other all the time because there's gonna be that one character we don't know how to fight, and there's nothing we can do about it. And we don't have anything against Dalzin. Like with Dalzin, there's one character we don't know how to fight.
Right. No, I mean, of course, it's not like there's not any hope. I mean, you guys do meet up at least 3 times a month. I mean, even at that, especially with you guys for an ST group, you definitely have a decent amount to
Yeah, of
learn
course.
from each other, evolve. I mean, if you're recording sets first to 10 and everybody watches, like someone has to have has to take away something from that.
Oh, of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
it's experience.
Definitely.
Experience because that first to 10 meant something. Money is irrelevant. Doesn't matter. It's just you want to win. You want to win the most amount of sets in that day, and then come back like 2 weeks later or a month later, run it back. That's it.
Definitely. Okay. Let me ask you a question then. If there was anything you could change about the Toronto scene, what would it be?
I want more people to get out because I've dissected the Toronto player base so deep enough that and I'm saying this throughout a 9.5 year time frame, that the Toronto like underground player base, the Street Monster, the underground group, the farm group, the forum lurker, the online warrior. I want them to get out because I've always stated that if you live in a scene with competition and you're not taking advantage of it, you're trapping yourself in a bubble. Like, why not? Like, you're lucky to have a place to play 7 days a week. But the thing is, there's always a scare factor. I don't want to take an hour on the train. I don't want to pay $5 venue fee. I'm afraid I'm going to get bodied. It's like, yo, you're not born godlike, and being a top player does not happen overnight. Like, I
Yeah, they
want more
should
people to get
just
out.
go just experience.
Yeah,
Experience what it's
even if you
like.
don't want to, even if you don't want to play, at least show up with your little circle of friends or whatever, and just spectate rather
Yeah,
than
have
just
fun.
just have fun. And people like the underground people, that little group that I've stated, it's like you have to practice your whole life, and it's like I'll never be good. It's like, yo, you just don't know. You may become a top player, but it takes its time. It's like the wrestling business. You start from the bottom and you work your way up.
I think you
Yeah.
can say that with
Understand?
any business, actually.
Yeah, with any
So,
business, but you understand. Like, I want more people to get out. That's the thing. It's like because we're in a time frame where it's like there's every scene has a decline period, and it's like, how did we have 40 to 60 people 3 years ago, and now we can't even get six for AE for Street Fighter 4? It's like
yeah.
how did this happen? Like, and people like are just afraid to like enter, like sometimes like, oh, I don't want to pay why do I have to pay $35 vending fee for a major? Like, you do realize it's expensive somewhere else, right? Like, yo, this is your home, man. Appreciate it. That's one thing I'd like to change.
Well, hopefully everybody in your backyard's going to Toryakin, obviously.
I hope so
Yeah.
too, because we had our last major was in October. It was called Canadian East Coast Championships, and it was very well run. I really had fun, but the thing everyone was concerned about was the numbers. We got 75 for AE and 64 for Marvel for a Canadian, Toronto major. Like, wow, I can't believe it. Like, this is low, and you understand what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
Yeah. Like, I just want more people to get out.
So, I mean, where do you think everybody in Toronto or even the surrounding area, where do you think they're hiding?
I don't know.
They're
It's
not
just,
coming out to locals or even, like regionals
the game
even.
is like the game is like 5 years old, and well, for Street Fighter is 5 years old. Marvel is roughly 2.5 years old.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, the game is very old. Like, at the same time, it's like Toronto. Some of the player base, there's a lot of casual monsters. So it's like we had a concept back then where we had underdog tournaments. Do you know what an underdog tournament is?
Why don't you explain
No.
the...
Underdog tournament is where players of mid-tier skill level and top players can't enter. So you only have it's like a scrub tournament. Like, put all the scrubs in one tournament, and like that's it, and that's where a lot of people would go. All these new players, and then slowly but surely, when we had more underdog tournaments, the number declined. So, just people gave up easily. Like, if you want my answer, a lot of people did give up a lot very easily.
A lot of people make the arguments that, numbers
I'm not-
drop in tournament showings just because the
It
street...
happens. It happens in every community, actually.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
not just saying this. Yeah, it happens.
Well, no,
every-
not just for, your scene or my scene or, like, even for, say FPS or any sort of other competitive genre. But, like, the introduction of, say, like, live streaming, especially if you want to see, like, some popular player play or whatever, like, that just kind of, or even the streaming of, like, major events kind of made people, let's say, for lack of a better phrase, lazy.
Lazy, but I don't know. And I forgot to mention that like majority of all everyone in the scene, majority of these people are young students. That means if you're in high school or you're starting college or university, that means your time in the scene is limited.
Right.
You understand? So like that's what this current generation that I've been observing. Like everyone's young, they're all like in college or university or at least starting it, and your time is going to be limited. Like I understand that.
I mean, that is true enough. I mean, we can't really decipher the sole reason for
Yeah,
people not
yeah,
coming out for every individual.
yeah. Money is also a thing. It's like because everyone in the community has a limited discretionary income. It's like to put like what am I going to do with my check? Like okay, X amount for like scene money. You know what I'm saying? Just X
And
amount
you
for
said
that.
also the whole passport ordeal. I mean,
Oh, you're talking about local. Oh yeah, some
yeah.
people.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I was
Yeah,
talking about local. I guess she's talking
yeah.
about like actually crossing over borders.
Well, for passports, it's so easy to get one. Like, well, I don't see why not. It's like for X amount of money, you can leave you're allowed the privilege to leave the country for 5 or 10 years. You're cool. Like, and like this is where all the exposure's at. You got to go to America. There's just people just don't have passports. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's something I can't answer.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I mean, yeah, for whatever reason that they're not coming out, hopefully they do. I mean, the new addition to, one of the biggest Capcom games, Ultra Street Fighter 4 is coming out. Hopefully we'll see
I'm really hesitant. I'm really hesitant.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's like it can work on the short term, but on the long term, we don't know. Like to me, Ultra Street Fighter 4 in terms of my scene is very questionable. It's very questionable.
I mean,
Like
yeah,
it's the newest game with all these patches and bugs fixed, but we don't like I give it 3 months before I get like a definitive decision
yeah.
on how everything goes through. Then again, it gets released before Evo, so yeah.
No, I mean what I was trying to say is like they're with the release of like something new. Of course, you're gonna have a new wave of people interested in it. Now, for the competitive nature, they just have to filter themselves out. Who actually wants to take this far, go into locals, regionals, majors, or whatever, and then who's just gonna stay online and play on their Xbox.
Yeah, and
But more likely than not, you're gonna get a few that want to filter through and actually
yeah.
up their game.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna give Ultra a try. Why not? I haven't played AE in like a year, but still, I'll give Ultra a try.
Yeah, hopefully others do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it'll revamp everything a little bit.
A little bit. I say in the short term. In the short term, but then again, like Street Fighter 4 is 5 years old, so old game is old game.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, there has been, let's say the dark ages of fighting games where it was just, Third Strike, Marvel 2, CVS 2 for about, the better part of 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess now in this new generation, you could say it was old, but it's not like we haven't really survived or struggled through before.
Yeah,
you
we
know what
haven't
I'm saying?
survived. Yeah, I agree.
What else was I gonna ask? Besides Toryagan, are there any other huge events, even like regionals, that you guys host?
Regionals, well, we just have majors. Well, we have our two majors. Montreal has their major called Montreal Annual Tournament. It's a very high, annual tournament in Montreal. Obviously, but you have to know that Montreal is all Street Fighter. That's the main focal point. It's just getting around Canada is just very expensive, regardless if you're going to go on a bus or a plane. It's very expensive. So, yeah, and like, yeah.
You traveled to Canada Cup. How long is that via bus ride?
When I went there, it was 60 hours, and for the first for the first 30, you did not leave the province of Ontario.
Jesus.
So,
excuse me,
and,
but that's pretty. So I mean, like,
That's like driving to Atlanta
yeah,
and you're only halfway there.
yeah, think of it like that.
the thing? I mean, so how is that experience of the 60-hour bus? Like, does the bus pull over and everybody goes nap time, or
Oh, yeah, of course. You can go nap time anytime you want
Well,
because I geographically studied that trip. So it's like, okay, all the culmination that you've done previously to all your trips in America, this will be so easy. It's one bus. That's it. And then it gets off at certain stops, gets more people out, there gets more people in. It's just that's just the way it is. It's just you're traveling 3,300 kilometers throughout the Trans-Canada Highway.
mhm.
That's brutal, and even worse on the way back because of the Hurricane Sandy effect. It
Ooh,
crushed a piece of the Trans-Canada Highway, so we were delayed 10 hours,
Oh my.
really?
and I made a post about it. And it's like, yeah, we're trapped here. We have no way out, and they knew about it, so we have to wait X amount of hours for a bus. We had to detour through another northern part of the province, and yeah, there you go.
Okay, and this was on the return trip.
Yeah, that was the return trip.
So on the return trip, besides the 60 hours, you also have an extra 10 hours because of the delay of waiting for another bus, then
Yes.
having to go through a detour. So that's 70 hours. That's nearly 3 days. So you're
Yeah, three
spending
days.
an entire 3 days on the road going cross
Yeah.
country.
hmm
How do you do it?
How do I do it? Okay, okay, I told you I joined the scene in 2005, right?
Right.
Okay, back then this arcade orbit it's an hour to get there by car. The thing
Okay.
is, nobody wants to help me. I'm just some new guy in the scene. I'm not part of your clique. I'm not a top player. Therefore, I know I'm not going to get any help. So, I had to bus in subway at 3 hours just to get to this arcade, and sometimes 3.5 due to an accident or traffic.
Right.
So, you're gaining a mentality advantage. Commuting because I don't drive. Commuting gives you a mentality advantage. So you get to read timetables more faster. You know all the routes. So there you go. It's like, how do I do it? It's like that because of years of commuting, I'm ready to take 12-hour buses. It's like I've done a 12-hour plane before to Sydney, Australia. So
Mm.
that's nothing. So it's like
For what? Shadaloo Showdown?
uh, I have relatives in Alice Springs, Australia, and
Okay.
it was 2000. So you had the Summer Olympics.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I got to visit the Sydney Opera House. But getting back on topic, with commuting, it's just I wouldn't say manipulating time, but it's like using time to your advantage. It's
Mm.
like 2 hours looks like 20 minutes, and people commute all the time to school or work or whatever. There you go. That's how I did it.
That's all
So
fine. I
easy.
mean, like, all right. So you have taken your 3 hours sub rides in the past, or yeah.
I've done that,
Uh,
and the bear on that point. I did that for 2 weeks every month for 2.5 years. No one wants to help me with rides. Okay, I'll just go on my own. And then I never complained one bit. It does get exhausting, but I've never complained. So that's
and that's what I'm saying. It just must leave you completely drained. And I don't mean to like backtrack all the
yeah.
way here,
hmm
but one of your rides was 70 goddamn hours.
Well, okay. When I did that trip, it's like I'm bound to meet people on this bus that I will like. We're gonna have to get along for the next two days. So it's like you just meet people and just have conversations. Why not? I don't see why not.
Okay. I mean, that is one way of looking at it. I mean,
Yeah,
like, how did you
but
feel when you got your 2 feet off of that bus and you're finally home?
I felt like I'm a god. I'm like because when I said I do this, I will do this and I will make it look easy. That's the thing. I made it look easy
And actually,
because
you
no one
definitely.
will ever do this. No one will ever do this. And I did it where it sounded like it's like I'm volunteering to. It's like you're volunteering to do this. Like, I'll make this look easy. Watch. Yeah. So I felt like, wow, you're a legend now. And
I mean, you are definitely respected amongst a couple players in the gaming community just because you're at this major. Then the next couple weeks or even a month, you're at this major, and you live all the way over here. How do you do it?
yeah,
So it's definitely a really, really
Amazing.
yeah, it's really amazing feat that
yeah.
it's crazy. But we are
Man,
near.
if I had to be on a bus like that all the time, you'd hear me bitching about it. I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh God, you know what?
Yeah.
That's when you tried to take the bus to final round.
Yeah.
All kinds of things happened. I mean, you didn't make it.
That's because the day before we had a 15 centimeter snowstorm.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, and there was an accident on the way,
Yeah.
so there's nothing we can do about it. That's not my fault. Yep. I was pretty pissed off when I didn't go to final round this year. But at the same time, I only spent $20 on my ticket, so there you go,
Yeah, that's not bad.
$20.
The really great benefits of booking megabus trips ahead.
Yeah,
You get to
like I
some
said,
states, some cities for just as low as $1.
Yeah.
like it's all about budgeting. Like people just don't budget their trip, and because you need to have necessities. You need to have your travel fee. You need to have your hotel fee. You need to have your entry fee, and then if it goes through a certain amount, it's like why not do it if it's very affordable. Like a typical day in a Toronto local is like what $40 to $60, and that's including food, drink,
Yep.
smoke, bus fees. I mean subway fees, entry fees. It's like that exact same money can send me to America, because having have been in the scene a long time, it's like you know what's gonna happen, you know what's gonna happen. You're just there just to relax and just chill. But when you go to America, that's when you see me smile. I'm really cut loose. It's like wow, now I'm here to party. And
Yeah.
I've partied so many times in America. It's like, wow, I will not give this up.
Well, no.
Especially if you're given $1 tickets, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. Well, no doubt. It's all about how much you're willing to sacrifice. I mean, you do have all these people, driving 5 hours. That you're gonna have to be paying for gas and tolls and food during rest stops and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then,
Hmm.
when you purchase a $20 ticket to and from, it's like
Yeah.
all I have is time.
Yeah, all you have to do, you literally can sleep. That's it. You're done. I'll do it.
You're making this seem like more
I
of a
know.
luxury than an inconvenience.
The thing is, I'm sorry to act like it's a luxury, but the thing is, people don't want to do it because it's the scare factor of 12 hours.
Yeah.
There are people that have said, and I'll use Biggie as an example. Oh, I'd rather pay $600 to fly to Philadelphia than pay $2 to go on a megabus. Okay, why don't you do it? Like people need their lap of luxury, and okay, like do whatever you want. Like I'm saving money. It's a money saver.
It's a money saver, but at the same time, it's the
Time.
time. Like
I
in
got
a
time.
way,
Yeah.
it might be a little easier just to take the flight
Yeah.
because it's so much quicker,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
I understand
But
that.
I'll tell you what. I mean, if I was able to have more,
Uh-oh.
You're cutting out.
No. Katie actually cut out for a bit.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's
Bob?
continue.
Yeah, you're up.
Oh, I think I just got booted out. Wait a
Yeah,
second. Okay.
but you were saying.
No, I was just saying, I mean, if I had more time and more available time,
Yeah, of
I
course.
wouldn't have a problem using the bus either, Because I'll tell you what, after the tournaments, I'm exhausted.
Oh, I'm
You know, I
exhausted
mean,
too.
We're all staying up all night long,
Of
haven't slept
course.
for days, and when you think about it, if you're just going to be sitting in like more of a tight squeeze of a recliner chair for 10, 12 hours, it actually might be kind of comfortable,
That is because usually I usually stay up and I just choose a morning departure and I just crash on the bus and you're guaranteed your hours of sleep. Done.
Yeah,
It's a
it's just
benefit.
that most people don't see it that way. Most people like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
actual
yeah.
cost over convenience rather than the other way
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Like, as an example, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I currently
Mhm.
live here. UFGTX is, around in the Chicago area. Now, you could either pay the $500 to and from, and it's a 30-minute flight.
Okay.
Or for maybe half the cost, you can drive over there, which takes 5 hours. Whereas if you plan in advance use your Megabus or Greyhound, you're only paying about maybe like an Andrew or something 20.
Yeah.
Then
But I
it
think
doesn't
it's like
matter
a
how many hours
7 hour
it takes.
bus
Like
ride,
huh?
or it would be a 5 hour car ride. It might be like a 7 or a
That's
six
fine.
six
Yeah,
hour.
but that's fine. And
That's
especially
fine.
since the Megabus schedule like actually leaves at really convenient times. As in, so like they'll arrive here in Cleveland around 2 a.m. And this is where I agree with Brett about getting your hours of sleep, because by morning time you're in Chicago, so you can just get on your bus, call it quits for the night, wake up, you're in a completely different place. You reach your destination without
That's
batting
true.
an eye, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and for such a low cost.
Oh yeah. It's all about planning in advance because like you do realize that venue fees are very expensive.
Exactly.
Like you're gonna be in there for that weekend. Like what do you? Obviously you're gonna compete. Then you still have to factor in hotel, then and
Yeah.
food and drink and smoke or whatever, all your ground fees. So it's all about budgeting.
And that is the secret, ladies and gentlemen. The Canadian World Warrior. That's how he does it.
There's more than that because like I told you, tournament organizers give me the dates in advance so I can attempt. I can attempt and guarantee me there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I understand that everyone has their levels of snags and roadblocks and curveballs coming at you.
Right.
So it's like I can't go to every single major, but at least I'll like go to a majority of them. And the reward is you're walking away with a smile on your face because it's like whatever that's pulled in America cannot be pulled at home. Like Keats' major, like, okay, you saw the fun and game section and the mystery game and the
Oh yeah.
like the presentation of. Okay, Bobby, seasons meetings. You saw the exhibition matches and the big space and the $20 Super Turbo tournament and
Yep.
like, international players. There you go. It's like, at home, it can't be pulled off. Like you understand? It's like we don't have like in Biggie's numbers. Like what's the maximum Biggie has ever had in his major? 1,800 people. Like Jabali, 1,800 people. In Toronto, the maximum we've ever had is like the high 200s to low to mid 300s. There you go. Like you understand that?
That's
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure things,
So you, like when you go to
once
a
they
U.S.
start to
major,
catch on a little bit more, I'm sure it'll work out for you guys.
I mean, I don't really think that it's a thing of hopefully it catches on, but it's like it kind of gives him more of a reason to actually travel out and look at all these great events with all these great spectacles, exhibitions, little trinkets and whatnot. So every time he travels, or every time he steps foot out of his house and goes onto a bus into some random state, it's bound to be a timeless experience. So,
like I think about everything as like, yo, you traveled all this way here, you're not gonna like nothing bad's gonna happen. You're gonna have fun no matter what. Like I can go 0-2 at a game, and like okay, what am I gonna do after? I'm gonna party, like,
Definitely.
because I don't party at home. Like I don't party in my home major. Like I'm gonna party. I'm gonna take advantage of this. Why not? Plus, all the people how many times do I see people like 2 times a year, 3 times a year in my home? You can see them at any given time, like So it's like a little family reunion. And
Yeah, it is. I
That's
always
how
thought
treat-
that the FGC was sort of like a large dysfunctional family.
Yes.
When
And
you
that's
think
how-
about
exactly
it,
how-
I mean, this community is still small enough that we have
We're all
an
tight-knit.
idea about
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
And even though we might kind of have some of our like little squabbles, or differences or alliances or whatever it might be, I think at the end of the day, because we all enjoy the same thing, we still have each other's backs.
And at the same time,
so to say,
at the same
yeah.
time, when you go to a major, like I want to see the best high quality matches possible, and rather than see it at a stream monster lying down in bed or sitting on a chair, I'm in an audience. Like I can be front row center and watch all this straight up. And it's like, wow, like I can't believe what I saw. It's like this is amazing. I come to see the best players fight it out, and like there you go. You come for the experience, but you come for much more than that. It's like you're gonna walk away with a smile on your face and tell the tournament organizer, like I'm very impressed with what I saw. I can be
Yeah.
back next year. I will be back next year. Like that's a tournament organizer's goal, is to do a good show and to ensure that more people come back the next year. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Brett, let me ask you one final question.
You can ask me as much questions as you want.
If you had a message to send out to this current fighting game community, what would it be?
A what? A message?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just be yourself. Like do whatever you do, but at the same time, just be happy. Just be happy. You don't want to walk around like being miserable and thinking like, you're not gonna progress. Like you got to think of the big picture and like try to have the best experience that you can. Like at the same time, you still need to travel. I understand, but just learn and appreciate like what's being presented to you every time you're at a major. Just appreciate what's being presented to you.
I like that.
You should also get out and support your local scene. Because going to one tournament a year, I mean, you may have a spot or that people play 7 days a week. Just don't know. Just research your community, dissect your community. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We are reaching our end time here.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah.
I would have given you 6 hours.
Yeah, but I speaking of jobs, I do have one in about maybe 5 hours or so I do need my sleep.
Aw.
But Brett, Mr. Psychocronic, I want to thank you very humbly for coming on and talking about your
sure.
experience here
Yeah.
at Meter Burn.
I have four quick things to say.
Okay,
The
you can
first
have
is
eight quick things to say, man.
what?
You have 4 quick things. Make it 8. Go ahead. Ask
4
me anything you want.
things. The
Just
first
4.
is Brett wrote a nice little article called "The 10 Philosophies." He'll have it on his Facebook page if you guys want to read up on that. It's pretty interesting. The second is this weekend was Bobby's birthday. Happy birthday, Bobby!
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Congratulations!
turn the
That's
big
awesome.
2-1.
The third is yesterday was Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. I hope you had a good time. And on right now is James Fink's
Nope.
On Blast show.
Actually,
No, I don't think so.
He's
Nope,
not up?
He's on hiatus. Nope.
Oh, his birthday was yesterday. I know that. I was gonna say happy birthday to him. He's
Yeah.
not on tonight.
Nope. He's on hiatus because rib problems or whatever, health problems.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
he's had some sort of a
Chest problem.
Oh my.
that
Okay.
he won't be able to host. But when he does, I mean, I do wish him the speediest of recoveries.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. James MK is a cool person. I like hanging out with him.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. Definitely.
Yeah, I've met him a few times. He actually got lost in Toronto Chinatown one time
Really?
because he was scoping out all the Canadian women. Him and Rio and Maxter and yeah.
I guess I'll have to have him talk about that.
Yeah, I always encourage people to travel. Like, come to Canada, you're gonna have a good experience. Why not?
All right then. But
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the tournament, that Toryukin. It's going on.
oh yeah, definitely. Before I sign off here, tune in if you're not going, but please try your very best to go to Torrigan 3. You have numerous pot bonuses for numerous games. A lot of the big names, e.g., are going to be there. A lot of heavy killers from the U.S. and definitely some of the Toronto, Montreal guys are going to be defending their home turf.
Yep.
So
The theme is expose the frauds.
yeah, exactly. At the end of the trailer, just who will be exposed? We'll see.
Yep, who will be exposed.
We'll definitely see. And for Brett, Mr. Psychocronic, Katie Cujo, and myself. I'm going to be signing off here. You guys take care of yourself. Our next session will be on May the 20th, the week before UFGT, or the week on UFGT.
Yeah.
So be sure to look out for that. We're going to be having a lot of exciting content being brought to you in the next couple of sessions. Again, thank you guys for tuning into the stream. If you're watching this via Twitch archive or YouTube, you guys get the same amount of love from me. But for right now, I'm signing off. So have a good night, everybody.